I'm not in a hurry to redeem it. I plan to go back and study it carefully before deciding. Leaving the school, I returned to the Summit of Joy adult shop on Tingxiang Road. I rested for 2 days in a row before finally recovering from my tense state of mind. The dreadful bell rang again until the evening of the 3rd day. What is meant to come will always come. I took a deep breath. Pick up the phone. Hello? Miyun Mansion has arrived. Please take care of your belongings. Get off from the back door. Please alight carefully. The vehicle has arrived at the station. Pedestrians and vehicles, please pay attention to safety. Route 14 is a self-service ticket vehicle. Please board from the front door. Please insert coins when boarding. No change is given on board. The vehicle is moving. Please sit securely and hold on. Welcome to ride on Route 14 self-service ticket vehicle. Please prepare exact change when boarding. Insert 1 yuan coin. Passengers boarding, please move towards the back door. Next stop, number 3 Bridge Crematorium. After what seems like the end of the bus announcement, a woman's voice is heard, promise me. Please don't let my daughter board the bus. Promise me. The phone suddenly hangs up. The busy tone of the beep beep echoed in the small shop. Not long after, a text message was received in the inbox. Midnight, quiet and deserted. Do not take the last bus that's delayed. It's very likely to be a hearse full of history. Livestream mission. Arrive at Miyun Mansion in the early hours of the morning, take bus 14 and arrive alive at the final stop. Optional mission. Protect the passengers on the bus. For each extra person kept alive, receive 1 point as a reward. I read the messages in my inbox. There are 4 hours left until the live broadcast begins. The Underworld show missions are becoming increasingly dangerous. Last time, I was able to survive thanks to Little Feng's help. I can't rely on miracles to happen every time. After much consideration, I decided to use the points from the Underworld show to exchange for several life-saving talisman papers. Afterward, I invited Lu the Blind, who previously lent me the Thunder Talisman. He is a fortune teller with some knowledge about supernatural beings like demons and spirits. Jian Gao Yor. The heavenly gate is obscured, dark clouds loom overhead, a portent of great misfortune. Just as you sat down, Lu the Blind immediately became serious and said, Listen to my advice. Don't go anywhere tonight. Stay indoors and there may be a glimmer of hope. I chuckled bitterly. You are quite accurate with your predictions. But I have to go out tonight. I need you to come over today. I would like you to help me take a look at these. What are the talisman papers used for? 5 points for exchanging 6 small vehicle talisman papers randomly. I am a complete outsider, and have no idea what these are for. What are the effects of the talisman papers exchanged randomly? So, I must consult Lu the Blind. 6 talisman papers were laid flat in the package. Not a single crease. The appearance may not be as good as the Thunder Talisman template, but every stroke and line is full of charm. Where did you get these talismans from? Lu the Blind sounded very surprised. There are even lost talismanic techniques. I looked at the clock and it's already 9 o'clock in the evening. Hurriedly urging, said don't worry about that for now. Quickly tell me about their effects. This is the first symbol. With a yellow background and black characters. It is called Mao Shan Guiding Talisman. It is the most basic one among the 6 symbols. It can resolve illusions and ghostly obstacles. This second symbol exudes an aura. With a yellow background and red characters. It is drawn with cinnabar mixed with blood. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the Mao Shan 7 luminous talismans. This third symbol is even more extraordinary. With a yellow background and white characters. It is written with sticky rice mixed with ink. It should be the talisman for children's night crying from the hands of a rural hermit. As the name suggests, its function is to stop a child from crying at night. I can't see the trick in these 4th and 5th talismans. But it seems to be a pair of talismans for mother and child. My skills are not deep enough. I can't comprehend it. As for this 6th talisman, red paper is used as the base. It is a symbol of great misfortune. This talisman does not follow proper methods. It must not be used indiscriminately. Otherwise, disasters will arise. Talismans with a base of red paper are all symbols of misfortune. I didn't expect that among the 6 talismans I randomly exchanged, There is actually one that will bring about misfortune, talisman paper. Not all talismans with a red paper base are bad luck symbols. It's just that this particular talisman you have is very ominous. The paper is just ordinary paper, and the ink is also just ordinary ink. But the person drawing the talisman is not a good person. Every stroke is filled with resentment. In short, listen to my advice. Do not show this talisman to others easily, and do not use it recklessly. After folding the 6 talismans and putting them in my pocket, I started walking. Lu the Blind slightly bowed and said, "Thank you, brother, for your guidance. I have offended many people in the past. If I can survive tonight, I will definitely go to apologize to them in person." Why did your tone suddenly sound like you were making final arrangements? Where are you going tonight? Lu the Blind moved his fingers, as if the blindfold covering his eyes could see through my inner thoughts. I can't say. But I must go. And I must go alone. Put all the broadcasting equipment into the black leather case. I light a cigarette. 2 hours to midnight. It seems you have made up your mind. I won't stop you. Just now I cast a divination for you. It was hazy. The divination indicated great misfortune. What did the divination say? It's my first time asking someone else to do a fortune-telling for me. I used to never believe in these things before. Lu the Blind shook his head and said, "Horses refuse to move when ridden. Carriages don't work either. It's best for you to walk wherever you go tonight. And you were born in winter, favoring warmth and fire. According to fortune-telling, your fate is connected to the south. Tonight, make sure not to walk northwards under any circumstances." One last point. Sometimes taking a winding path through secluded areas is better than a direct route. By appearing distant but actually being close, you will reach your desired destination. After he finished speaking, he did not stay for long. He coughed a few times and then left leaning on his shoulder pole. Cannot take a car. Cannot go north. Cannot take a direct path. These requests are indeed strange. I silently kept them in mind. After that, I quickly turned on the computer and searched for information about the number 14 bus in Jiang City. I was startled by what I found. Online news has reported a total of 11 bus accidents on the number 14 route. Several lives have been lost on this route, both large and small incidents. And all the accidents share a common point, which is that the incidents always involve the last bus of the number 14 route. Netizens have also speculated about this. The last bus of the number 14 route is simply not meant for the living to ride on, but for lost souls and wandering ghosts. Those who ride on it will go but never return. Originally, I also didn't believe in ghosts and gods. But after experiencing the live broadcasts a few times, I had no choice but to believe. Seeing such statements, I couldn't help but feel anxious in my heart. The terminus of bus number 14 is Jiang City number 3 Bridge Crematorium. And the bus company also runs an empty bus during midnight on the Ghost Festival and the Spirit Festival. The bus does not pick up passengers, it just runs the entire route empty. This strange rule has left many citizens puzzled, but the bus company has never provided a straightforward response. Therefore, the rumors about the last trip of Route 14 bus have become more and more bizarre. Due to the time constraint, I quickly checked online and then carried my suitcase out following Lu the Blind's instructions. Instead of taking a taxi, I walked all the way to the Miyun Mansion in the outskirts of the city. Why did Lu the Blind ask me to board the car at Miyun Mansion? Is there any mystery behind this? I have looked at the route map of Bus 14 several times. I have memorized the name of each stop. This Miyun Mansion is neither the starting nor the ending station. It is just an inconspicuous stop on the bus route map. I walked for an hour and a half. I finally arrived at Miyun Mansion before midnight. This place is much more desolate than I imagined. I can't see a person within a few hundred meters. In the distant 2-story farmhouses, there are scattered lights. I circled around a large circle before seeing the bus stop sign. A lonely metal sign. There is only the route map of Bus 14 on it. It's almost midnight. I took out my phone directly, ready to start live streaming. At the same time, the lights in the farmhouse in the distance all went out. In the endless darkness, only the dim light of my phone screen was shining. Capturing images now. Barrage connection in progress. Data stable. Whether to start the live broadcast? Yes. Welcome. The Teletubby was murdered. To enter the live broadcast room. Welcome. Teeling Biao Yi. To enter the live broadcast room. Welcome everyone to this super thrilling live broadcast room. Before starting today's live broadcast, I must tell you, this live broadcast is not visible to everyone. According to my guess, only 3 types of people can see it. One is those who will die within 7 days. Second is those with heavy yin energy around them. Third is for you all to guess. In conclusion, I hope all viewers will be more careful. The streamer has started bragging again as part of their daily routine. Who are you trying to scare? Please cut down on the tricks a little. More sincerity. This sudden fork in the road. No prior setup. Force fork in the road. Negative review. The picture quality is a bit blurry today. Could it be that I've been playing too much recently, causing my nearsightedness? Talking nonsense. My biology teacher told me. Eyes and that thing have nothing to do with each other. More of it will only lead to the palm getting pregnant. Goodbye. Learn something new. Next time I will definitely wear gloves. Danmu is flying in the live broadcast room. Nobody takes what I say to heart. Shaking my head wryly, I aim my phone at the bus plate. Today the experienced driver will take you for a ride. It's the Route 14 bus. This bus ride will be extraordinary. I quickly stop them from arguing. The old drivers who start driving. Please explain the situation of the last bus of Route 14 in Jiang City to the viewer. And just as I was explaining, an elderly lady in her 60s or 70s was holding an iron basin and a bag of paper money as she sat across the street. She was facing the place where I was sitting. She happened to be sitting at the bus stop for the number 14 bus on its return route. Where she came from, I didn't pay much attention. But after a few minutes, the elderly lady began burning Jaws paper right on the main road. She was crying as she burned, her voice filled with sadness. Watching the flames rising continuously and hearing the heartbreaking cries, scenes like this always give me a creepy feeling in the bones. She is burning Jaws paper on the street. Could it be that her family members died on this road? Or perhaps the workers from Mian Mansion, who died in an accident here? My mind is inexplicably filled with distracting thoughts. The fire dwindles. A bag of paper money is quickly burned up. Uncle, can I ask if this is bus stop number 14? Suddenly, a voice comes from behind. I was startled. I turned my head and saw a girl with a backpack. She looked to be about 12 or 13 years old, probably not in junior high yet. Yes, this is the bus stop for Route 14. Thank you. She sweetly smiled and stood beside me. I was confused. When I looked across the street again, the old person had already left, leaving only the road, with the lingering smoke from burning Jaws paper. He's gone. I have no idea when the old person left. It feels like only a blink of an eye has passed in terms of time. What's gone? The girl student next to me sways her ponytail. She looked down and glanced at me. It's nothing. Just an unfamiliar old lady. I brushed off the dust from the ground and stood up. I glanced at the girl beside me from the corner of my eye. What's your name? Yilu. What are you doing at the station so late at night without going home? I asked in confusion. She didn't give a direct answer, but instead countered. Then why aren't you going home at night either? Insisting on waiting for the train here. This girl is quite eloquent and clever. She stumped me by saying, hurry home. Look around, there isn't even a light for hundreds of meters. Aren't you afraid of encountering bad people? I'm not going back. I'm also waiting for the bus. What are you waiting for? Can't you see what's clearly written on the sign? The last bus departed at 9:30. It's already stopped running. Where are you going? If you really can't go, I'll give you money. You can take a taxi there. My mom said not to accept things from strangers. The girl is very principled. 2 ponytails are quirking behind her head. It looks quite interesting. Your mom must have also said not to wander around when it gets dark. Hurry home. Don't let her worry. The girl lowered her head. After a while, she said, my mom isn't at home. I need to go find her. I could see that I couldn't persuade her either. I could only accompany her, and wait with her. Around 1 o'clock. On the bumpy road in the distance, 2 sets of yellow and green headlights pierce through the darkness. Bus Route 14. It's here. The bus is moving very slowly. It took 5 minutes from seeing the headlights to the bus arriving at the station and coming to a stop. Ding dong. We have arrived at Mian Mansion. Please take your belongings. Get off from the back door. Please exit the vehicle. The vehicle is entering the station. Pedestrians and vehicles, please pay attention to safety. Route 14 is a self-service ticketing bus. Please board from the front door. Please insert 1 yuan coin upon boarding. No change is given on the bus. No way. It's 1 o'clock in the morning now, and Route 14 bus is still in operation. There are still many passengers on board. Could the rumors be true? Mian Mansion is surrounded by thick darkness. The only brightness comes from the lights of the Route 14 bus. Both the front and back doors of the bus are open. I stopped Yilu, who was holding a 1 yuan banknote, as she was about to board. After a while, an elderly man got off from the back door. It's not even autumn yet, but the old man was wearing a thick cotton coat with a scarf around his neck. He looked like he was seriously ill. However, he walked very quickly. In the blink of an eye, he reached the other side of the road and stopped beside the pile of burnt paper money. Then I saw him bend down and start picking up things from the ground. Just as I was about to take a closer look, unexpectedly he suddenly shook off my hand and got on the car by herself. I have no choice. I also took out a 1 yuan coin and boarded the bus through the front door. This is an old, beyond repair old-fashioned Minxing bus. It starts with a manual lever, and the windshield wiper is broken. Inside the car is even more mottled and peeling. The paint peeling situation is very serious, emitting a strange smell. Please sit securely and hold on tight when the vehicle starts. Welcome to Take Bus 14, the unmanned ticket vehicle. Please insert coins when boarding. Passengers boarding, please move to the back door. Next stop, Villageon. After boarding, I did not sit down immediately. Instead, I took the opportunity to look around at each passenger on the bus while finding a seat. The driver is a young man who looks even younger than me. He is wearing the uniform of the bus company, his eyes fixed on the steering wheel. His forehead is damp with sweat. Is it really that hot? Could it be cold sweat from being scared? He doesn't rush me even though I'm moving slowly. He has a really good temper. There's no trace of impatience like others his age. Sitting right behind the driver's seat is Yilu. This girl took off her backpack and made a face at me. Sitting a few seats away is a middle-aged lady, dressed very casually, just like she just finished dancing in the square and is ready to go home. At 1 o'clock in the morning? Normally, someone of her age should be asleep by now. Where is she going on the number 14 bus? And behind the auntie is a couple who look like they're in a troubled relationship. They are in their early 20s. The woman is leaning on the man and doesn't want to leave, while the man keeps frowning, looking somewhat disgusted. Across the aisle from the couple sits a patient, to be precise, a person in hospital gown with bandages wrapped around their head. The person is around 40 years old, with an unusually pale complexion. They keep muttering to themselves. The leg next to the seat is also shaking involuntarily. No matter how you look at him, he doesn't seem like a normal person. But I have a feeling that he is the most normal person in this car. There is another person sitting in the second-to-last row of the bus. The girl is about the same age as Yilu. Her eyes seem swollen as if she just cried. She is also holding a backpack in her arms. Just as I was about to continue looking back, I suddenly remembered something. The phone that connected when Underworld show released the mission. A woman inside once said a sentence, "Promise me. Don't let my daughter get on the car. Promise me." I actually forgot about such an important thing. Now there are 2 girls appearing. Which one is her daughter? Currently, I have too few clues on hand. I can only take one step at a time. At the back of the bus, a heavily made-up woman sits near the window. She has permed big waves and is dressed like a hostess in a nightclub. Next to her is a woman wearing a red coat. Her face is completely covered by her hair as she leans half against her. What makes me feel strange is that heavily made-up woman seems to not see the woman in the red coat at all. She is completely focused on playing with her phone. I withdrew my gaze and sat down behind Yilu. The driver saw that I had finally taken my seat and was about to start driving. At that moment, someone suddenly grabbed the partially closed door. "Just in time," they said. "Hurry up, please." 3 workers wearing safety helmets got into the car, their clothes covered in paint splatters and mud on their shoes. After paying the fare, they found seats together and sat down, chatting and laughing. It's not right. How could workers be getting on the car at such a late hour when the Mian mansion has been under construction for years? They smelled of alcohol and had flushed faces. It seems they have been drinking a lot. Can ghosts really drink alcohol? I shook my head. Perhaps they were just local villagers hired to renovate the house. Wait until the 3 people are seated securely before closing the car door. Bus Route 14 slowly starts moving. My 3rd thrilling live stream officially begins. The car starts. The road is clear. Heading north. At this point, I remembered the hexagram that Lou the Blind calculated for me before departing. When riding a horse, the horse does not move. When sitting in a car, the car does not go. Wherever you go tonight, it's best to walk there. And you were born in the winter, favoring warmth of fire. Your destiny lies in the south. Tonight, absolutely do not head towards the north. One last point. The winding path leads to seclusion. Don't just take the straight road, sometimes taking a detour makes the destination seem closer. Cannot take a car. Cannot go north. Cannot take a straight road. Now it seems I have not followed any of them. I looked out the window with a bitter smile. The paper money on the roadside was blown into chaos by the wind. And the old man wrapped in a scarf is nowhere to be found. I can only vaguely see a black and white photo frame in the iron basin. The old man in the frame seems to be smiling at me. I was startled and shivered all over. Was the photo frame in the iron basin from the beginning? Bus Route 14 is slowly moving. Because of aging, the windows on both sides are not tightly closed. Cold wind is blowing into the bus. It's blowing on a bus full of passengers who you can't tell if they are humans or ghosts. Jianbang, move over there. When I lie down and sleep, wake me up when we get there. A construction worker with a drunken face propped his feet on the seat. He squinted at his young companion next to him. The 2 young people who came with him understood tacitly. They took off their safety helmets and sat in front of the girl getting a perm, blocking the view of the crowd. The older foreman chuckled and lay down in the last row of seats. He appeared to be sleeping, but his dangling hand was not behaving properly. Always taking advantage of the moments when the car was shaking, he would lightly touch the woman with long hair in front of him. Can't this guy see the woman in red clothes? I used my phone's camera to capture everything. What is the real situation at the back row of the car? The foreman is lying in the arms of the woman in red. Most of his face is covered by the long hair hanging down from the woman in red. It looks very eerie. But the woman with permed hair had no reaction at all. She was still intently playing with her phone. The foreman's courage gradually grew. The young man sitting in the front also swallowed his saliva. "Brother, let me take a nap too." The young man named Jianbang looks a bit envious. "Kid, your hair hasn't even grown out yet. What are you napping for?" Talk through the conversation of the 3 people. I roughly understand. The 3 of them are fellow villagers. The oldest one is the foreman named Chunfu Wang, and the 2 young men are named Jianbang Niu and Jianyan Niu. All 3 of them have drunk quite a bit of alcohol. At this point, overcome by lust, he noticed that no one was speaking, so his actions became bolder. Perhaps she could no longer tolerate the harassment. The permed hair girl sitting in the last row screamed and slapped away Chunfu Wang's hand, which kept reaching towards her. "What are you doing?" she asked, holding her purse as she stood up. Chunfu Wang's eyes blazed as he looked at her slender legs. Reluctantly, he withdrew his hand. "Beauty, I must have been confused. I'm sorry. Did I touch you?" he asked knowingly, his words slurred as he was clearly intoxicated. The girl with permed hair snorted coldly, knowing she had encountered a scoundrel. She stood up and walked to the front door, taking a seat across from Lu. The strange thing is that the woman in the red dress followed closely behind her, like her shadow sitting right behind her. It was across from me. Only separated by an aisle did I have the opportunity to observe carefully. The woman in red wore a long skirt that covered her ankles. Her hair covered her face completely, concealing all her features from any angle. This woman shouldn't be faceless, right? imagining some horrifying scenes. I looked at the woman with permed hair. She still had anger on her face. She sent a message on her phone, but it seemed that the other party had not replied. Feeling a bit wrong, she made a phone call on the bus. Rong, what exactly do you want to do? Didn't I say not to call my home phone? There was a deliberately lowered male voice on the other end of the phone. I have sent you so many messages, but you haven't replied to any of them. Nobody answered when I called your company phone. Do you have to see me dead before you are satisfied? Rong is in the process of getting a divorce. Property division is very complicated. Please give me some time. You always say that every time. It has been dragging on for several weeks. I'm telling you. If you don't give me an explanation, I will come to your house with my pregnant belly. Nonsense. Don't do anything foolish. You need to trust me. Husband, who are you talking to on the phone? Don't disturb the child so late. Another unfamiliar woman's voice came from the receiver. Wife, why are you awake? It's nothing, it's just work stuff. That group of idiots can't do anything without me. As he was talking, the man hung up the phone. Zijianli, you scumbag. The girl with permed hair angrily threw down her phone, fiercely pounding her slightly bulging belly. No one in the crowd came out to stop her. The driver continued to drive silently, paying no attention, only occasionally wiping the sweat off his forehead. Beauty, such beasts in human clothing are not worthy of you. He has no intention of getting a divorce. Refusing to take responsibility for you, it's all excuses. Chuan Fuwang swaggered from the back of the car. Picking up the phone that fell on the ground. Oh, it's still an iPhone. Did that jerk give it to you? Give me back my phone. Oh my, listen to that voice. Like a little female leopard. If he doesn't want you, the rest of us do, right, brothers? After saying that, he reached out to grab the hot perm girl's shoulder. Stop. Someone finally stood up in the silent carriage. The voice came from my direction. But it wasn't me. Instead, it was Yilu, who is less than 1.5 meters tall, timidly standing up from her seat with a backpack in her arms. What are you meddling in? I sighed. Running around outside at 1 or 2 in the evening. Probably not from a decent family. Looks quite obedient. Chuan Fuwang stared at Yi's face. The more he looked, the more it seemed itchy in his heart. Come here. Come to Uncle. Teach Uncle how to hold back. The situation has evolved to this point. I can only stand up now. What do you want to do? I am the head of her family. If there's anything, come to me. You are quite tough. Just at that moment, Wang Chengui, Jianbang, and Jianya came over. The three of them came aggressively. I also clenched my fist and prepared for a tough battle. The sound from the car's radio came through. Village Inn has arrived. Please take your personal belongings and exit from the back door. Please watch your step as you exit. Both front and back doors are open. A row of mourners with mourning robes and armbands stood at the door of the car, their faces pale and grim. I can see the driver's undisguised expression of fear on his face. Beads of cold sweat are dripping down steadily. His hands gripping the steering wheel are twitching slightly. What a bad luck. Chuan Fuwang cursed when he found out that those white-collar workers needed to get in the car. He handed the phone to the permed woman. He sat beside the person in the patient gown. As soon as he sat down, the patient gown immediately hugged his legs, pressing his body against the car window, and kept muttering. I didn't do anything. I didn't see anything. Don't kill me. I don't know anything. Chuan Fuwang spat in front of him and scolded with a stern face. Are you sick? Scared me. I didn't hear their conversation. At this point, I focused all my attention on those people who were busy with the funeral arrangements. These people are a bit strange. Not keeping vigil at night and running around with torn clothes and mourning bands everywhere. What does that mean? At Village Inn Station, a total of 5 people got on the train. They were both male and female with extremely pale faces. They didn't take off their mourning clothes even when they were on the train, as if they were already accustomed to wearing such attire. All 5 people sat in the last row. Whether they were human or ghosts, as they passed by me, they brought a chilling breeze. With their appearance, the interior of the train fell into a silence as deathly as before. The vehicle is moving. Please sit securely and hold on to something. Welcome aboard Route 14, A bus without a ticket seller. Please insert coins upon boarding. Passengers boarding the bus, please move towards the back door. Next stop, Chrysanthemum Garden. The vehicle is moving again. At this moment, the atmosphere inside the bus is extremely suppressed. Route 14 seems like a lonely boat, drifting in the boundless darkness of the night. I sneak a glance at the 5 people sitting at the back. They are all dressed in white from head to toe. The clothes are not hemmed. Their waists are tied with hemp ropes. The muscles on their faces are stiff as if frozen in time from crying. It has been so long that they seem to have temporarily lost consciousness. There is a lot of care put into wearing mourning clothes and armbands. Their attire is mismatched. I always feel there is something wrong with those 5 people, but I can't pinpoint exactly what is off. No one spoke during this leg of the journey. The only sound in the car was the roar of the old-fashioned engine. I don't know how much time has passed. Chrysanthemum Garden has arrived. Please take your belongings and exit through the back door. Please watch your step when getting off the vehicle. Bus Route 14 has both front and back doors open. No one is boarding through the front door. I'll focus on the back door. The seemingly mismatched couple stood up. The man kept urging the woman to hurry. Reluctantly, the woman picked up her handbag. They got off the bus together. Please sit securely and hold on as the vehicle starts. Welcome aboard Route 14 unmanned ticket bus. Please insert coins when boarding. Passengers boarding, please move to the back door. Next stop, Martyr Street. Just then, the vehicle had just started moving. The elderly lady sitting behind me suddenly jumped up. Wait! She grabbed my neck as if she had gone crazy. You are a thief! Quickly get off with me and explain to the police at the station. It must be you who stole my things. Come on! Get off the car with me. I am completely confused. The auntie has a strong grip. She dragged and pulled me all the way to the back door. What are you talking about? How could I steal from you when I was sitting in front of you? You could see that I didn't leave my seat after I got on the bus. I wanted to explain, but the auntie didn't listen at all. It's definitely you. I saw it clearly, it was you. Such a grown person not behaving properly, actually stealing things. She dragged me to the car door, to the police station. Let's go to the police station now. I was inexplicably mistaken for a thief by the auntie, and she made me get off the bus. Watching the slowly starting and gradually moving away bus, I couldn't help but laugh and cry, Auntie. I am not a thief. Please go ahead and search me. I have nothing on me. Auntie knows you are a good person. She watched bus number 14 disappear into the night before catching her breath and saying, It's because you are a good person that Auntie wanted to save your life. Earlier, the wind outside blew open the mourning clothes of those attending a funeral. Guess what Auntie saw? She looked mysterious and spoke in a secretive manner. I instinctively asked, What did you see? Those guys are not human. The wrinkles on Auntie's face gathered together. She whispered, They don't have legs under their filial piety clothes. No way. I didn't expect the superficial Auntie to be so attentive. You know, those who handle funeral matters. I started to pay attention to them as soon as I got on the car. However, despite my training in criminal investigation, I did not detect anything unusual. Could it be because of the angle issue? Auntie was very close to those people, while I could only watch from my phone. No matter what the issue is, Auntie saved your life without asking for anything in return. She only hopes that you can take her back home. Since getting off the car, she has become mysterious. It's like she's a completely different person from when she was on the car. Anyway, we've already gotten off the car. It's too late for me to chase after her now. I nodded helplessly. Where is your home? It must be hard to find in this remote wilderness. Easy to find. Just follow Auntie, and you'll be fine. Just don't stray too far from me. I followed behind her along the road heading north. Not far away, I heard a woman's cry for help. I am about to go over. Don't worry about it. Hurry up and walk. The aunt's face suddenly became serious, urging in a stern voice. I hesitated a bit. It's not good. It sounds like the couple who just got off the train. If you are asked to leave, just leave. Mind your own business. You might get yourself into trouble. The auntie grabbed my arm and pulled me forward. She is very strong. Makes me feel as strong as an adult man. No. I still want to take a look. The woman's cry for help is getting louder. It's very tragic. It's as if someone is chasing her with a knife from behind. I shook off the auntie's arm, ignoring her efforts to stop me, and left the road. I ran towards where the woman was calling for help. Are you okay? I could vaguely see through the darkness as I crossed the chrysanthemum garden. A woman was lying in a pool of blood. I didn't think too much and rushed over quickly. I placed my hand in front of the woman's nose. She had already stopped breathing. She was dead. Maybe it's because of my profession. I habitually turned over the woman's body. But strangely, there were no wounds on her body. Instead, there was a bruise on her neck. It was clearly a mark left by being strangled with a rope. Where did this blood come from then? I trembled as I looked ahead. A man lay on the ground nearby, with several knife wounds on his body. The man was dead. Then the woman beside me is. Be careful. The old lady pushed me away forcefully. Just now I squatted down and saw a shiny fruit knife stuck in the ground. I was still in shock. I turned around and saw the woman who had apparently stopped breathing just now. She was actually moving her head and getting up. You're not dead. She doesn't even know how many years she's been dead. The body must have started to smell bad. The auntie stood between me and the woman. It seemed like she wanted to protect me, but in fact, she tightly gripped my arm, more like she was afraid I would run away. The woman didn't seem upset that her attack missed. She sneered and said, "You have the nerve to criticize me. Your own son abandoned your grave. Now you are homeless." "Shut up." The aunt grabbed my arm tightly and said, "Don't be afraid. I'll take you to my home right away. Once we're there, you won't see these lost spirits and wandering ghosts." The conversation between the two made my spine chill. At this moment, I didn't dare to follow her anymore. "Auntie, I don't think I can take you home. You two talk slowly. I have something to do and need to leave first." Struggling to break free, but couldn't shake off Auntie's hand no matter what. Her hand felt like it was attached to my flesh, gripping tightly. "Don't leave. Auntie's home is almost here. Come in and have a seat," she kept inviting warmly. The more frightened I felt, the harder I struggled. I almost used up all my strength to push her away. I took a few steps back, my face showing obvious panic, and asked, "Auntie, where exactly is your home?" The aunt, who had been facing away from me this whole time, shook her head a few times. Her head seemed like it was about to fall off. She suddenly turned around and said, "We will be there soon. After we pass this tomb, you will be able to see it." Tomb. That's when I noticed. It turns out that the man was leaning against not a heap of soil, but an unmarked solitary tomb. My body ran uncontrollably backwards. I instinctively wanted to distance myself from these two eerie women. "Don't go. Come sit at my house. There won't be any lonely souls or wandering ghosts at home." Auntie's voice was somewhat off-key. It sounded lonely and terrifying in the night wind. I didn't dare to look back. I used both hands and feet to run into the endless night. My pants were torn. My shoes got lost. My feet were covered in fresh blood. I don't know how long I had been running. Time seemed to have slowed down tenfold. All I could hear by my ear was my heavy breathing. Until I was exhausted and could no longer run. Plunk. My legs knelt on the ground. I collapsed on the ground. I can't run anymore. I looked up. The scene in front of me made my face turn pale. A person squats on a tomb a few meters away. No, I can confirm now. It's a ghost squatting on the tomb. It's the middle-aged lady who dragged me off the car. She is walking towards me with a stone in her hand. A life for a life, to eliminate evil and deliver justice. At the moment the stone drops, I feel dizzy and disoriented. It feels like a fire is burning in my chest. At this moment, all I can hear is the pounding of my heart.